Hi everyone, it's me, Ali. But today I'll be Ali the Hedgehog. Do you know that I'm a huge Sonic fan? I think most people that know me already figured it out. But for any new viewer, I love Sonic. Well, I like it. I love Sonic girls. And today, it's a special day because can you guess something? Something just arrived through the mail. The Sonic X Shadow Generations game! Day 1 edition. Huh. Yeah, finally it arrived. I cannot wait to play it. So, I'm not gonna even waste any more time and I'm gonna immediately just try to play this game. I'm such a huge Sonic fan and I'm so glad that I can play it day 1. Let's see how it goes.
Bruh.
Yep, this is something that happens to PlayStation all the time. They are very cheap with these ones, but look at the disc. Oh my goodness. And what we got here. And this is the journal of Gerald Robotnik. Oh my god. I'm gonna see it immediately when I can. Because right now I'm gonna play it. Sonic X Shadow Generations. And here we go! I mean, of course. What else do I expect? Well, since we're gonna have to wait, well, why don't we see a bit more of this? I always wanted to have a game the first day it came out. I am a huge 3D Sonic fan. Actually, wait me one moment. As you can see, I have some games of Sonic. Which are the games? Well, let's go first with Sonic Riders and GameCube, Shadow the Hedgehog. Ooh, yeah. I have this bad game, which is a game that I love. Sonic Hero, when you can actually play 3 characters at the same time. A weird concept. Sonic Adventure 2, the first time we see Shadow and Rouge. And Sonic Adventure DX. The first Sonic Adventure. These were all in GameCube. Now, I had one on Xbox. This isn't my game, technically. It was from my brother, but my brother doesn't have an Xbox, so now it's mine. Another Sonic game, technically, Mario & Sonic at the Olympic Games. I also had Sonic and the Secret Rings, but I lost it. I don't know where is it. And some other games that I just bought recently. For example, Sonic Unleashed. I always wanted to play this game, and after 20 years, I could finally play it. Well, not 20 years, it was more like 15. It was surprisingly more fun than I thought. The only problem that I could guess is the stupid music of the combat of the Night Werehog. Oh yeah, the real Sonic Generations. Although this is a PAL version. And finally, Sonic Colors Ultimate. Yeah, the last Sonic 3D game that came out. Or did I? I also have Sonic Frontiers, but I have it on digital, on Xbox. And also have other games. I have Sonic Adventure 2 3 times. In Xbox, in physical, which is GameCube. And the third one is on PC, in Steam. And the 3 times I beat it. No. Rephrase that. I completed. I got all 180 emblems. And now it's time to finally try Sonic X Shadow Generations. That's a weird name. I'm gonna call it Sonic X Shadow, even though that's what usually fanfics are for. And this is my first PlayStation, well, no, not first one, but my second PlayStation 5 game, which is kinda funny because it's not my second PlayStation game. I do have all this, but these are not PlayStation 5 games. These are PlayStation 4 games. But I never played a PlayStation, so I don't mind that much. I can now play all the PlayStation 5 games and PlayStation 4 games that came up. The problem is that PlayStation 5, there are barely games in PlayStation 5. Now both Xbox and PlayStation have the same problem. And my first and only PlayStation 5 game is Spider-Man Miles Morales. It was really fun. Well, it's finally time. It's already installed. Time to play Sonic X Shadow. And that's how Ali played Sonic X Shadow Generations. It took him like 40 hours, but at the end, it was worth it, and he had so much fun. But after all that, he still had a lot to say about this game. That was an awesome experience. Now, I want to do something special. I want to review Sonic X Shadow Generations. I don't think I'll be doing this often. Just with games and franchises I actually know and love a lot. And this one fits perfectly in that category, since I completed the game. Yeah, I said completed. I platinumed the game. I have seen everything that the game has to offer. Sonic X Shadow has many good things, but also some bad things, and questionable decisions. First, all the good things. Sonic Generations, it's always been either a great game or a good game. The original was a 5-star if you were a Sonic fan, although the story and plot are just decent, but they work for what we need. The gameplay is great, almost all levels are fun to master and to play. Having two types of gameplays was very interesting and innovative, and the amount of content and reward you got was impeccable. But even when the game was awesome, Sonic is not a game for everyone. Sometimes the platforming and the fast movement of playing as Sonic can be too much for newcomers. So it's almost like Pokemon, where usually its fan base is very loyal, but not everyone can get into this game if you didn't play when you were younger. So for everyone else, even myself included, it is a 4-star game. Still a good solid game, but still not a must-play 5-star game.
Hold up, wait a minute.
But suddenly, we got this announcement, a remaster of Sonic Generations, and with new content? I thought that this would make it the greatest Sonic game ever. It already had good content and good gameplay, and by adjusting just small parts and bugs, I won't doubt this will be the definitive Sonic game. It will finally be a 5-star game.
You stupid.
Oh boy, I was wrong. I mean, don't get me wrong, the game is still good, but it's a bit disappointing. Even though they added more to Sonic Generations, they had to change and remove stuff from the game. Sega has to always screw this up in one way or another. Even when the game is solid and great, we cannot give it points for that. This isn't an original game, it's a remaster, so we can only give him points from what it improved. The graphics looks much better now, and it should be. We're now at 4K and 60 frames per second, and the game delivers on that front. This game can be very comparable to Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. Only some slight changes to the main game, and a completely new story. Still, most of the good gameplay remains intact. The modern Sonic is always a blast and really fun to play, and the classic Sonic is still a good 2D experience. Now, both Sonics got the drop dash. Good for classic Sonic, unnecessary for modern Sonic. He has something better. It's called the boost. Controls are mostly better. They made them similar to the Sonic Frontiers controls. You now use most of the buttons instead of only using some of them, and I can appreciate that. And you can still change to the legacy controls if you want to. Now you see which red rings you got as you play the current stage. Previously you have no idea and you can only check them once you were done with the stage. We also have to find 3 hidden chows in every stage, which makes it a bit more replayable, although many of those are very hidden. They at least give you a hint in the collection room. I would have preferred if they tell us the name of the chow. They fixed some bugs and glitches that are still in the original Sonic Generations. The game looks better, But that isn't something too great since the Boost Xbox program already did that with the original, and the PC port on Steam already looked great too. But I accept that this remaster still makes it look better than the original. Now the status room is completely unlocked from the beginning, and we don't have to use a secret path and type all the passwords to have all the stats, which is something that almost nobody knew, not even me. How did you get those passwords? It looks like Sega didn't plan properly, as always. They added and changed some dialogue. Previously, in all the scenes where Sonic rescues his friends, he always stays silent. Now he at least says something to them. There are now multiple save files, instead of only one, in both Sonic Generations and in Shadow Generations. The Shadow Generations part looks great, and even more the gorgeous cinematics. That's something I'm so happy to see. Sonic used to have really good cinematics, but suddenly, with some modern games, it got really bad and disappointing. And now we're back on track. All the boss battles were very cinematic and really fun. The story of Shadow Generations is a bit more mature. It's much better than the recent stories of Sonic. We got some small glimpse of Shadow dealing with his past, and the return of Black Doom and the Black Arms. Although, this is almost the story of Shadow the video game. Again. By the way, I'm going to call it Shadow the video game, because its name is literally just Shadow the Hedgehog. Should we call it Shadow 05? Back to the story. Let me show you what I mean by being very similar. Shadow discovers about the return of Black Doom. He now has to face and deal with his past. Discover some truth and revelations about his story, usually from Maria and Gerald Robotnik. Uses some of his old abilities and gets new abilities, and finally, defeat Black Doom by deciding and showing who he truly is. This is like a spiritual successor to Shadow the video game. Even the game is now rated E10+. Am I crazy to think that this game looks so similar to Shadow the video game? No, because even when the game is my guilty pleasure, I still accept that it's not a good game, and most people have never played it before, so they don't know about the backstory of Shadow. But with Shadow Generations, you can now see and read the full story of Shadow the Edgelord. The 3D open level stage select is fun and impressive. The movement is more responsive and feels better. In Shadow Generations, it really feels like a mix of Sonic Frontiers and Sonic Generations, and the controls are also mostly good. The music remixes are great, and they added more music from previous games. And the new Doom powers and level design of Shadow Generations makes it one of the best experiences in a Sonic game we ever had. Now, let's go with the questionable decisions. In Sonic Generations, you had to get 3 keys to open the boss gate. And that also happens in Shadow Generations. To collect the key, you have to finish 1 mission to unlock 1 key. But in Shadow Generations, you have to finish 2 missions to unlock each key, and by the end, you have to finish all missions to be able to finish the story of Shadow. Why? Why with Sonic is 1 mission, but with Shadow is 2? By the end of Shadow Generations, I was fed up with these mission stages. Oh no. At least most of them are fun and quick to finish. Now, did they think we'll be okay to just add Chao because they are cute? I mean, of course, they are freaking adorable, but that's besides the point. I want the Chao Garden back! Let's talk about the stages. Almost all stages make sense to be a level 4 Shadow, but why Chaos Island? That's from Sonic Frontiers, a game where Shadow doesn't appear.
Perhaps because Shadow has limited game appearances, so there are no other games to get stages.
Oh, I guess it makes sense. If we only had a game where Shadow had an adventure on his own. Oh, hey Shadow the video game. Do you know any video game where Shadow appears and has stages that could be used for this video game? Why are you looking at me like that? So in summary, you will be half right. There aren't a lot of video games where Shadow appears as a playable character. But why ignore the main game where he literally is the only protagonist, but you still acknowledge his existence? They literally brought back the Black Arms as enemies, so it baffles me that they didn't want to use any of the stages from Shadow the video game. Why bring Black Doom again, when we could have had a new villain? Now, you don't have lives, which can be a good thing, but you can still buy lives in the store. In Sonic Generations, we have cinematics with Sonic friends once you rescue them. Why we cannot see those cinematics again? You can only see them once in the entire game. And the worst part is that usually every character has different dialogue when you rescue it with either classic Sonic or modern Sonic. So we can only see the interaction of only one Sonic. Why they didn't add them to the movies part of the collection room? I have a strong theory. Time restraints. You can see that they changed it and added stuff that was quick and didn't need too much extra work, even though they still did extra work in other parts where they shouldn't. We all know that this game had to came out before the Sonic 3 movie. Now, the bad decisions. They changed some models, dialogues and cutscenes, but they did it halfway. For example, they removed all the funny dialogue. I guess it's more serious, which is fine for me, but most of Sonic's dialogue in Sonic Generations was already fine. Some people think that this is an exaggeration, and well, kinda, but also not so much. Amy and Rouge also got questionable changes. Amy's bio was changed a bit, which is fine. I like it more when she also wanted to be Sonic's girlfriend, but that's not important. Although that was a recent change that she had in Sonic Frontiers. Now it looks like they are trying to say that it's always been this way. Now some scenes look unintentionally funny. Here at least Sonic acknowledged her. Now she's being completely ignored after Sonic saw her. Almost like he is giving her the silent treatment. And now my beloved Rouge. They changed her outfit to cover her more, but now it doesn't make sense. The idea of her outfit is to show that she's a woman that is sometimes seductive, and with her bag, it's supposed to go under her wings, so her wings are out and she can freely fly. Why can't we have a middle ground? We were already at a middle ground, where she only had a little bit of cleavage and a bit of her back exposed because of her wings, and nobody had a problem with her. Really, nobody. I checked on Reddit, the changes on her cleavage made most people indifferent, but with the back, everyone agreed that it was a dumb and unnecessary change. Is really the back of a woman too sexy for anyone? That's complete bullshit, and I'm going to show you why. Let's go to the character models. So, all girls need to be covered from the back, right? Then explain to me why Amy has her back exposed. Suddenly these arguments and justifications start to make no sense, right? Wait, if I'm showing the back of Amy, does this mean that this video is going to get banned? They might try to change it in this video game so people say it's always been this way. But the internet never forgets. Why is Sega so obsessed with fixing or changing certain characters? Now let's go back to video games. Sorry for all my rambling, but I'm an illustrator / artist focused on women, so I know what I'm talking about. Let's change the subject to something a bit more serious. The change of the controls, I said it's mostly good. Why mostly? Because you cannot change rails while grinding by using the shoulder buttons, only with the left stick. Oh, but for some reason you can do it in Shadow Generations. And with Shadow Generations, the Chaos Spear is in the Y or triangle button, which makes it awkward for some stages or challenges. It will be great if we could change specific buttons in the options. I think you can only do that in the PC version. Now the final boss. Sonic Generations always had a bad final boss. The concept is cool for sure, but the gameplay to defeat the Time Eater is really lame. Just boost, dodge the attacks, and keep boosting. Sometimes change from one Sonic to the other, but that doesn't change the idea of only boosting with such a bad movement and dodging lame attacks with weird animations and hitboxes. They could have changed this, but nah, let's focus on Rouge and Amy. Now, why they didn't add the classic Amy and Knuckles models? It was a good opportunity to add them. They could also give us concept art of all the characters that appear in the game. Why don't add more to this game? The stuff that true fans would actually be interested in. I would love to see concept art from all Sonic friends. You would say,
How? They will have to add more missions for that, and they don't have time.
well, simple. In some missions, you unlock new moves, so you get 2 things for finishing certain missions. Why not give us concept art on the missions where Sonic Friends appears to help you? It is possible to give us more. The Orbot and Cubot ship that you have to give spare parts, it's mostly annoying. Why? Because the spare parts are very small and you have no way of knowing which ones you already got and which ones you are still missing. And you only get one music track for getting them all. Thanks, I guess. Also, why didn't they change the dialogue of Shadow to be more faithful to the new cutscene of Shadow Generations? Is that so hard to do? It's not because they focus on the bias of Amy instead of actual important stuff. They also removed many achievements to replace them with others for Shadow Generations. I was very disappointed when I discovered that. Sega it's always been like this, where they make games that have a lot of potential, but for some reason they are afraid of success or make some questionable choices. Now, you don't get any rewards for finishing all the missions, or even getting an S rank in all levels or missions. If only there was a skin or something you could get in the game for completing everything. Oh, hi Sonic Jam, Sonic Adventure and Terrio skins, how are you? Wait a minute. These skins could be a reward for beating the game, or at least getting an S rank in all missions and levels. Please Sega, give me a reward! And it's not like it's something easy to do, you're actually giving it for free for the actual players that get everything and get an S rank. In conclusion, I'll give this game 4 stars out of 5. A good solid game. This game has so many good things, but it also has so many nitpicks and questionable choices that ultimately take away 1 point from being perfect. This game had the potential to be a 5-star game, but it's not, unfortunately. Sega is fine with making only 8.5 out of 10, 90 out of 100, or a 4-star game instead of 5. For now, I'll be playing any new 3D Sonic game that comes out. Now that I finally have all the consoles, it's impossible for me to miss a 3D Sonic game. Why do you hate me, Sega? Yeah, buying an iPhone isn't something easy to do for a third world person. The average price for an iPhone here is 13,000 Mexican pesos, which is more expensive than a freaking PlayStation 5. And it's very recommended to not wander around in Mexico with such an expensive and easily stealable item. So my only hope is that one day it will come to PC or Android. Well, thanks so much for watching the video. And now, I'll leave you with the Sonic X opening. No, get the fuck out. You stay out of here. This was the terrible Sonic X opening we had in Mexico and many other countries. I want the real original version of the Sonic X opening. I said the real original Sonic X opening. Perfection.